Hi, everybody. I am so excited that you are here with me, Aleeza Ben Shalom, and I am here with Kim Solomon. She is one of our fantastic coaches. And in addition to being a coach, she has been a matchmaker for a while. She's had over 40 couples get engaged. And she just really has so much to offer in terms of wisdom and understanding the entire process. And I really want you guys to get to know her. So Kim, welcome.
Thank you, Aleeza. Thank you so much for asking me to come on.
Yeah, my pleasure. We're so happy to have you here. So tell us just a little bit about why you became a dating coach.
Sure. So let me first explain why I became a matchmaker, and then I'll address why I became a dating coach. So I remember before I got married myself back in 2005. But when I was meeting matchmakers myself, I remember when I met the matchmakers, I just had this like intuitive feeling deep inside that this is what I was going to do one day. And that feeling never went away. I've been a matchmaker since 2007. I really feel like it's my tafkid, my life mission. And I feel very fortunate to have found my life mission. The reason I feel like it's my life mission is that I enjoy it. I'm excited about it. It gives me my spring in my step. It kind of vitalizes me and energizes me. It's like my espresso, if you understand what I mean. My birth parsha is Parshas Chayes Sarah, which is actually the parsha we learn the halachas of shidduchim. So I thought that was so interesting because I really feel like it's my mission. So the reason I decided to become a dating coach is that from all these years of matchmaking, nearly every day of my life, I hear from people why they're interested, why they're not, what they like about a profile, what they don't like, what makes a good impression, why they decide to give a yes, why they decide to give a no. So I have all these years of just hearing this. So it's given me a lot of wisdom and information, and I want to share it with people so that they can do the best they can and put their best foot forward.
Amazing. Amazing. And you have a tremendous amount of wisdom and knowledge to share from all of your years and from all of your experiences with so many singles. So it's really phenomenal. Amazing. Okay, so we have a few questions. The second one is, what is your specialty? Whether you work with a certain age or a certain background or a certain type of person, is there anything that's your specialty, or maybe anything that's not your specialty? Either way.
So I have a few things that I really, in particular, like to help people with. One thing is, as I mentioned, I like to help people on how to make a good impression, how to write their resume, their profile, how to put their best foot forward, but while still at the same time being authentic and genuine. Because the key is you don't need to bend like a pretzel. You just want to put your best foot forward and just put forward the best version of yourself. I like to really guide people on how to get matchmaker attention and just strategies sometimes just to get more dates. Another thing I like to do is I like to ask people questions. This is like the coach in me, and try to see if there's anything that they can amend and change that might help them to get the results they want quicker. Sometimes there is nothing they need to change. Sometimes it's just not the right time, but sometimes there's little modifications they can make that will hopefully help them to find the success they're looking for sooner. Another thing is I really like helping people become a good conversationalist. I actually created a formula and how to keep the conversation flowing and try to prevent those awkward silences that so many people dread. And lastly, I really enjoy learning about different personality types like the Enneagram and the Myers-Briggs. I find that by learning about people's personality types, I can kind of speak their language more and communicate better with them.
Amazing. Really amazing. And I know you work with men and women, older, younger, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s plus. The age, the background, religious, secular, it doesn't make a difference to you. You work with everybody across the spectrum.
Correct.
Phenomenal. Amazing. Okay, next question. What do you love about our Marriage Minded Mentor team?
Oh, so many things. So first of all, I actually read the book Get Real, Get Married as a shadchan to help me, and it helped me immensely. I actually took a lot of your training courses, as you know. The first one I think was actually back in 2015, and I took many of them. And but you know what my favorite thing was, Aleeza? It was actually just the one-on-one time we had for me to ask you questions and take notes on what you say and just really get your advice on things. It's my greatest honor and privilege to be asked to join the Marriage Minded Mentor team. Also, as you know, we've I've gotten to speak many times in person from when you used to live in the greater Philadelphia area. And I really
Yeah.
cherish the fact that I got to meet you in person on several occasions before you made Aliyah. The other thing I like about being part of a team is I like being able to confer with other coaches. I like to share ideas. I like to hear ideas from them. I like to share ideas with them. So I just like that support as well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And it's amazing. The team itself, everything remains confidential with each individual coach, but
Of
in
course.
order to learn, we can talk about different stories or different examples of things and ways that we helped clients to overcome things. And then it's not just my experience with one client or your experience, it's all of our experiences together that help us to grow and to learn more and to know more to help more people.
Of
Amazing.
course. Thank you for adding that, of course.
Awesome. Can you share with us one client success story, something that stands out to you?
Sure. So one particular story that comes to my mind is that I was helping a woman and she was having a hard time differentiating between anxiety and fear and what was her inner voice and her intuition. And that's
Mm,
something I think a lot of us have difficulty with, a lot of us these
yeah.
days. And if a person, especially if a person has a little bit of a propensity already towards anxiety, sometimes it can be hard for them to think, to differentiate, is this anxiety or is this really my inner voice? So I helped coach her through this. And in the end, I actually thought it was just her anxiety, not her intuition. And I thought it was a good match for her. There were a lot of clues we had in this, but one of the clues that led me to think this is that when she was with him, she felt calm and relaxed and centered in his presence. She felt good on the dates with him. It was when she was away from him that she would go into her head and start ruminating and kind of getting into that analysis paralysis kind of mode and kind of thinking worst case scenario. One thing I've noticed in my experience is that usually if a person has an intuition of a problem, usually there's concrete signs as well that they can kind of pinpoint and articulate, as opposed to just this free floating kind of fear.
Awesome. That is really something that I think a lot of singles struggle with. And I think you pinpointed something very specific that you were able to help somebody understand so that they could make a decision moving forward at a very critical juncture in their relationship. Great. Thank you. Okay. Last thing. What is one dating tip that you want to share with everybody who's watching?
Oh, there's so many tips, but what I'll discuss is this overarching umbrella topic of connection, and emotional connection and chemistry. Because you probably hear this a lot, Aleeza, as a dating coach, on nearly every session you have with people, this issue. So when I first started becoming a matchmaker, I heard on almost a regular basis something along the lines of, really nice person, but I just don't feel it. And,
Yes,
you know, you probably hear this a lot too.
all the
And
time.
for a while, I thought to myself, what is this all about? And what I really think that phrase means, I just don't feel it, is that they're just not feeling that emotional chemistry. They're just not feeling that chemistry piece. And I think these days it's become a little harder for people because all of us, including myself, we all have kind of a short attention span. We all get kind of bored easily. And so I think this is one of the reasons we hear a lot of people say they really want someone who has a great sense of humor. They really want someone very outgoing. And I think it's because one of the biggest factors I think that people are taking into account when they're deciding if they want to continue is, do they have a nice time on the date? Was it fun? Do they look forward to seeing the person again? And so I think that's very connected to this chemistry piece. So here's the 3 points I want to say. The first point is, in my opinion, I believe that even when it's the right person, it's not always easy to have that chemistry. You know, there are a minority of cases where people have this like instantaneous connection, and it's incredible when that happens, and it's a tremendous blessing. But I don't think that's usually what happens. Most of the couples that I successfully set up, it took a little time, it took a lot of effort. But it wasn't usually this instantaneous connection for most of them. So the first point is, I do think it takes a little bit of work. I know my husband, before he dated me, he did work in the sense that he listened to classes on how to date, how to be a good speaker. He came prepared on the dates with open-ended questions and interesting topics to discuss. And the other thing is that I've noticed even a lot of happily married couples, how much connection and chemistry they have can fluctuate from day to day, from conversation to conversation. Sometimes it just depends on if they're tired. Are they putting the effort in? Are they focused? Are they concentrated? Are they concentrating? Are they on? Are they being active listeners? So sometimes even happily married couples, sometimes they can feel very emotionally in sync, and sometimes they just don't feel like they're on the same wavelength. And I think that's normal and natural. And the good news is that when you're actually married, you don't have to speak for 2 or 3 or 4 hours straight like you do when you're dating. I can't remember the last time I spoke to my husband for 2 hours straight. Can you remember the last time you spoke to your husband for 2 hours straight?
Not 2 hours straight. Sometimes if we get a good conversation, 45 minutes, an hour plus, depending. Yeah, it's a good point.
But often it's like, hey, can you take out the trash for me?
Right.
Can you fix this sink? Can you run this errand? So that's the good news, is that you won't have to spend hours and hours like you do when you're dating. I think the key is, when it comes to this effort point, is that I like this phrase, stretch, but not stress yourself. So, don't drive yourself crazy, but you do want to stretch a little bit as opposed to stressing yourself completely. So that was the first point. The second point is steps to building this emotional connection and chemistry. So I think this step has 3 points, A, B, and C, I'll call them. A is to smile. Show enthusiasm, have positive energy. And the reason why is that our energy level is contagious. People mirror our energy. And I think that's why one of the reasons why people are so drawn to self-confidence is it makes us feel secure and safe to be around a person who has self-confidence. So too, if we're around a person that's engaging, lively, upbeat, vibrant, we feel good and happy to be in their presence. It's, we mirror that back. So that is, I guess we could call this A. B is to learn how to be a good conversationalist. Ask open-ended questions. I think I mentioned before, I have a formula that I came up with. I wish I could go into it now, but it would take a long time to explain it on this quick interview. But I have a formula that I came up with on how to be a good conversationalist and how to keep that conversation going. There's a lot of resources online, YouTube videos, articles on how to be a good conversationalist. And I think anyone can improve on this. My husband, for example, he's a very quiet, kind of introverted guy. And for his job, he had to learn to speak in front of over 100 people. He also used to be an adjunct professor. And you really have to be like a dynamic, charismatic speaker to keep the attention span of your audience. And he worked at this, and he now is a really great public speaker, but it did not come naturally for him. He took Toastmasters courses. He practiced a lot. He read books. He really did a lot of effort. So I think anyone can improve on this. The other thing I want to mention is that it's normal and natural for things to be tiring if you're working at this. I've spoken to public speakers who you would think it comes so naturally for them. One very well-known public speaker in particular, I asked her, I said, this must come so naturally for you. It must be so easy for you. And she said to me, are you kidding me? That's why I'm tired all the time. So it's like flexing your muscles. If you're doing a good job, you will feel a little bit tired afterwards. But as I mentioned before, when you're actually married, you won't have to spend all this time, hours and hours talking. So you won't have to work this hard. The last thing about this second point about steps to building chemistry and emotional connection is C, and that is the way we build emotional intimacy is sharing emotional experiences and discussing emotional topics. And I think that's why often women who are in seminary together, men who are in yeshiva together, they have this lifelong bond. Have you noticed that? They can not see each other for 5, 10, 15 years, and they pick up right where they left off and they can connect right away. There was actually a couple that I set up, and the woman was feeling kind of neutral and par about the guy. And it was about a 6th or 7th date. So she wanted to keep going, but I was a little nervous because most people won't hang in there that long if they're not feeling anything. And so on this 6th or 7th date, it started raining a lot. So they started splashing together in the rain and jumping up and down in the rain, and they started laughing together and having fun together. And it was from that point on where she started developing feelings for him. And I think it was that shared emotional experience that really helped those feelings to come.
Amazing.
So the last point I want to make about this overarching topic of connection and chemistry is that even though I'm promoting becoming a good conversationalist and the steps to doing it, at the same time, on the other hand, I want to encourage you to still give people a fair chance, even if they're not the best conversationalist, and even if you don't feel that amazing chemistry. And let me explain why. Sometimes a person can be really fun to date, but they may not be the best spouse for you. And on the other hand, sometimes they aren't the most fun person to date, but they could really be a great spouse for you. A good analogy is, imagine a person going in for a job interview. Sometimes they do really great on the job interview, either because they're very self-confident, they speak really well off the cuff, or they just have a lot of natural charisma, but they may not be the best employee. And conversely, you may have someone who maybe they get a little bit tongue-tied at the interview, and maybe they're not the best public speaker or even just speaker one-on-one, but they could be really a great employee and do a really good job. So too, I do think you should give someone a fair chance, because they may really be a good spouse for you. Lastly, here's what I want to end with. Don't beat yourself up if you feel like in the past you didn't work hard enough at being a good conversationalist, or maybe you're worried that you said no too quickly and didn't give someone a fair chance. Don't beat yourself up about it. I once heard a big rabbi say, there's lechatchila, which is, before the fact, and b'diavad, which is after the fact. So before the fact, we do want to put in our maximum efforts, our maximum hashtalos, to make sure we're doing the best we can to make a good impression, and that we're judging people fairly and not judging too quickly. But b'diavad, after the fact, if we realize we feel like we made a poor choice or didn't do the best we could, that's when we accept that this just wasn't meant to be. Now, sometimes it could be that you dated someone in the past and they're still available, and you think you made a poor choice or didn't make the best impression possible. So then I actually do think it's a good idea to see if you can revisit that. But if it's too late to revisit for whatever reason, I think that's when we want to encourage you to just accept that this just wasn't meant to be. Because just remember that Hashem can always open up another door for you.
Amazing. Amazing, Kim. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your wisdom. And if you like what you heard here today and you are interested to work with Kim, all of our new clients are welcome to do a 15-minute intro session. If you'd like to get to know or just see if, oh, really, will she be able to help me with this specific thing? You could check in with Kim. If you think, wow, I know who she is, I got a feel for her, and I really think she can help me, you should sign up for a session today. We would absolutely love it if you would sign up at marriagemindedmentor.com and join us and be a part of our team. We're here for you. We would absolutely love to support you. And we do that best by offering our coaching services one-on-one. So you can find Kim on our website and sign up. And we look forward to getting to know you and helping you all to get over your hurdles and under the chuppah. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.